Hello, my brothers and sisters on the Dragon's Path. My name is Tim Hey, and I believe in dragons. And I want to tell you something about the dragon spirituality that a lot of the world just don't believe in, but I believe in very much. Because seeing is believing, and I've seen a dragon just in front of me, even though it was so special and so big that I refused the dragon in the beginning. Later on, I didn't. I loved the dragon so much, and I want to know more. So, excuse me, that was, well, excuse me, let's continue. And in the beginning that I felt the dragon, I felt that there was so much more about this, so much more to tell about the dragon's path. And I didn't even know that there was a path, that there was a thing like the dragon's path, but there was, and it was my path. And humans in this world just tell you some things, path that you can take, and it's just limited. Or you can take the atheist path, or you can take the Christian path, and all of these religions. But there was one in particular that I was drawn to, not any of them, because I didn't care for their God. I didn't care for their non-believing things. I mean, I believed in the dragon because there was one in front of me, and I couldn't go anywhere with this, and that was so frustrating because I couldn't go anywhere to people who can say what this was, that I can say, wow, there are dragons everywhere and I love it, what can I do? You know, there was not a point, a place that I could go to say whatever is going on, and that was so frustrating. And actually, uh, um, what is actually the history behind the dragon? There is a large history behind the dragon, a large history from people who were worshipping them until the moment that they were demonized. But what do you feel about the dragon? Did they were they here in flesh and blood, walking around in this forest, for example? Were they here, or were they spirits from the beginning, and were they never flesh and blood, but spirits from the beginning? Well, actually, both. But I've came to discover years ago is that I can feel the presence of the dragon in this forest very much, but the presence of a spirit, but also from a spirit that used to live here, also in flesh and blood. So there are dragon spirits that never were flesh and blood, but there are also dragon spirits that were dragon blood, flesh and blood. I mean, um, so both answers are right, because what I can feel is that the early creatures and the early spirits of this earth were dragons, and the guardians of it. So they were everywhere in spirit, but also in body, in flesh and body. So both answers, excuse me, are right. So whatever how you view or how you feel the dragon or the dragon's path, were they ever flesh and blood? Did they ever roam the earth? It's possible. Actually, most of the guardians, most of them, have been here in flesh and blood, and they know what this earth is all about. They know about surviving, and they know about everything that you come across. It's not that they never been here. They have experience with surviving. They have experience with living here. That they were also afraid. That they also had these large emotions. That they also needed to survive and needed to breathe and needed to everything just like we do, but as dragons. The whole world were describing the dragon as an animal with a large tail and a reptilian face, reptilian scales. All the world were telling the tales of the dragon. They all have seen the dragon, and they all have seen how the dragon was portrayed as something fierce, as something that you should be afraid of. Also, something that is your guardian. That is why the Vikings, even in Norway and Scandinavia, always portray let the dragon be in front of their ship, so it was protected. Of course, that is not the way it works, but yeah, humans, of course, humans, they understand something, but the second thing they don't understand. But yeah, they let the dragon's head, the dragon's image was their protection. They were carved into their ships, but also their churches when they were when they needed when they were actually when it was the church made them make churches, but they didn't actually know they were carving dragon heads on the churches. So it was actually their sign of protection. And of course, the Catholics didn't know, but they did it anyway. So yeah, the dragon. I believe that my guardian lived on this earth. And I believe that my guardian is also the guardian of Tiamat, which means the earth. And I also am very drawn to the forest. So I believe that the dragon with me lived in the forest. And that is why I'm so drawn to it. That is why I also want to live in it. That is actually no joke. That is seriously a strong thing in myself. And that is also why I say to you that your strongest instincts should be followed. Everything that you feel should be followed. And so, sorry, excuse me, wow. That also you should follow your own instincts, and that you should know where your dragon is coming from, but also your spirit. What was your spirit? Was your spirit in flesh and blood, or was it always been a spirit? Have you, in your instincts, ask yourself this, have you some experience with a life before? Something that triggers you, something, of course the dragon's image should trigger you, but if this is the case, if the dragon image triggers you, if it's so beautiful to you, then I would say that that the energy within you as well has been flesh and blood before, but also your guardian. Some guardians never been flesh and blood, but it also is a dragon. But in this case, the guardians has always been there for protecting and for being there for Tiamat or Fafnir or Pangu. It's just it's very complicated, this one, because there are so many variations of dragons, spirits that had died, that has been living, that has been surviving for so many years. And I believe also that it's true that a dragon lived for a very long time, very, very long. That they were the descendants of gods, of deities, and that is why they lived so long. But they didn't stay here forever. The dragons in flesh and blood, they didn't stay here forever. And actually that was better this way, because humans, whatever they would do to the dragon, I don't like to think about that. I really don't. Because if I can see humans, how they rule over this world, they are saying that everything is theirs. Everything is theirs. Everything that is alive, they decide who lives and dies. They are the gods for themselves. Whenever I see the world and humanity with my draconic eyes, I would say, yeah, they have left us. They have left this page, I could say, this side of the veil, and now they live on the dragon realm, this dimension where the dragon is. And for good cause, I mean. If they would live here, they would be hunted and killed, and it would be messed up to see this. If I can see how humans treat animals, it's just the same thing. They declare themselves as king, and I don't see humanity as king with a dragon eye. So try to find out actually who your spirit is. Did they live before? Were they here in flesh and blood? Did they had fear like you do? Did they had happiness like you do? Whenever they did something good or did something bad, or whenever they died even. I had visions of dying, and that is traumatizing. And I believe that the guardian that is by your side, or even yourself, had died before. My brothers and sisters, be blessed.